Welcome to Aliens with JW, the podcast where aliens have conversations with humans and fellow aliens. Today's episode is with Joshua Washington, the creator of the Be Free graphic novel series. Joshua, welcome to the show. JW, thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. I know we collaborate behind the scenes about multiple different things. So I'm really just super happy to finally come on the screen and have a conversation with you. Well, let's start at the beginning. What inspired you to create the Be Free graphic novel series? Well, that's a great question. The Be Free graphic novel series originally came from an art series that I created a couple years ago. The art series was called the Be Free, where I was working on repurposing art and figuring out ways to like save products from the landfills. And one day I started drawing the aliens that are in the graphic novel on all the art. And I didn't know where it was taking me. I didn't know where it was leading me. And then one day I had a conversation with a friend that writes that writes theatrical plays, and he has a few that's out there in the world that's doing amazing work. And one day he inspired me to start writing. And once I wrote the theatrical play, I looked and I was like, I needed a name. And then I looked in the room and I saw all the art that I created, and I saw the word "be free" and I saw the aliens. And that's when the idea hit me to name the graphic novels "Be Free," and also to make the aliens that I created in that art series be the characters in the graphic novel. Even though I have not come out with the actual theatrical play yet. I plan on doing it in a year or two. The concept for the graphic novel originated from the theatrical play script. Actually, not the theatrical play, but the script that I wrote for the theatrical play. And that's what inspired the graphic novels as well. Why did you choose Planet Appleway as the setting for the Be Free series? I would say I chose Planet Appleway for the setting for the series because Appleway is where I started creating characters for the first time. I actually many years ago, like when I was like in the ninth grade, I moved to Mississippi, and the place that we lived at was a street called Appleway Place. And when I was there, living there and going to high school, that's where I basically created my first realistic character. So, the Planet Appleway is really based off of the younger me, the 15-year-old version of me that was an artist that started this whole path to creating your own universe. So this is basically honoring that kid that created that first character almost many years ago. And so that's kind of like how why I created the Planet Appleway. And I also named the planet after Appleway, after a place that basically helped inspire me to become an artist in that environment. In what ways is Appleway similar to Earth? Appleway is very similar to Earth. The aliens are really humanoid aliens. In regards to that, I basically put a lot of myself in in the books. A lot of things that I'm highly interested in, and so because of that aspect, the Appleway planet and Earth are very similar. like my major interests are all throughout the books. Like the weightlifting scenes, the fight scenes, just different aspects of it. Because of myself, like I kind of was looking at it where if I was going to be off planet, it has to be a world that I would actually live in, a world that humans might be able to live in, I can see myself in. So I think that's what made it very similar. How the world's different, the climate, that would be like the major thing. If you were human, you would definitely need to have some oxygen tanks. But besides that part, the climate and the oxygen level, the worlds are very similar. Each of the books in the Be Free series are unique, but can you give us more insight to how they're different? Oh yeah, that's a great question. I would say the Be Free series is about the past, current, and future kings of the kingdom. Where they differ is on what each king did. Um, and a major difference is where the Peaceful Warrior did. The Peaceful Warrior is working on trying to unite the world back to what it was during King Orbit's time. King Orbit's time, the world was divided. So I would say they're very similar but different. And that's like the really cool part about it. You see the aftermath where King Orbit didn't kind of believe that that one king should be able to rule the world. The Peaceful Warrior believes that one king can rule the world. And so that's like what makes them extremely different. What they're both are similar is that both the Peaceful Warrior and both the King Orbit have they're basically truly in love with their kids and they would do anything for their children. And their decisions are also driven by the desire to give their kids the life that they want their kids to have. Were the books planned out from the start, or did the story evolve as you created them? Well, I would say the first four books were planned out from the start, mainly because the first four books are just a derivative or an alteration from the script that I wrote for the theatrical play. There's some changes in timelines, but that's how the first four books were created. They're basically from the script from the theatrical play. Um, how it involved after writing the first four books, I started looking at I needed to tell the story of King Orbit, how the world was divided, how the current world got to where it was today. And so that's how the story involved. I figured I needed to go back in time. But we get to see more of Apple's landscapes, cultures, and history in future books. Yes, the answer to that question is yes. I actually just finished creating the seventh graphic novel. The graphic novel goes further into time, where it's King Orbis. He's the first king, but in being the first king, there had to be a time period before the first king, and in that part of it, I go more into how Appleway was created, how or why the aliens have heart-shaped eyes. I also go into a little bit more about the culture and a little bit more about why the aliens are the way that they are. So that's something that I just finished actually. I don't have a sure date when I'm going to release it, but yes, that seventh graphic novel is basically done. It's finished. And I'm definitely looking forward to when I do release it. for the world to see, learn more about Planet Appleway and its original origin story. Looking back, how do you see your own growth as a creator reflected across your books? I would say really reflecting on this, I would say my style throughout each book started to slightly change. Like people are reading the stories, you'll be able to see in the first book like the faces are more round. And then, like, as you get to more stories, I start giving more facial character. I start giving more character with it. And then even some of like the environments, I even start changing the colors a little bit, experimenting. So I would say definitely my creativity just kind of experimenting. But I would say my growth really is I feel took a bigger leap in my one I just finished, where it's mainly not going to be in color. This is going to be the first book that's primarily in black and white with some gray tones. There will be some color in there, just mainly for people to have an idea about how the characters will look in color. But for the primary part, it will be in black and white, which is basically something I realized is like one of my styles that I really enjoy. Do you handle both the writing and illustration, or do you collaborate with others? Yeah, I like the question. For the first six books, even the one I just finished writing, the seventh one, I handle both the writing and the illustration for all the books. I really enjoy writing. I really enjoy illustrating. But I'm not exactly sure for future books. Am I going to do the full process myself? For some of the future books, I might just provide the concept art or the theme or the story and then have other illustrators work on it, mainly because of I think the next phase of this series is I'm planning on going into creating the theatrical play. I want to start planning on writing creating the movie. So I might go away from producing all the graphic novels might complete them 100% myself, or I might continue to stay with that process. But definitely for creating the movie, the theatrical play, I'm going to be collaborating with producers and actors and different people to bring that story to life to the screen or to the theatrical play where people can see it in real time and see the characters brought to life. What's the biggest challenge you face when bringing the stories to life? I would say the biggest challenge that I face in bringing the stories to life is actually spending time with humans and real people and not just focusing completely on my story. And what I basically mean by that is that when I lock in on a story and I get involved with it, I basically am locked away for like 3 to 4 months straight or even longer, just basically fully working on that story for like 14 to 18 hours a day. And it takes a lot of time. Even when I'm juggling, like, let's say a day job, once I come back home, I am locked in from like 6 o'clock to like 2 o'clock in the morning. And so it's like making my biggest challenge is like making time for other people, making time for the people that I care about. So that's like the biggest challenge. It's like how do I balance when I'm locked in on the creative, working on the creative process and making sure I spend time with the people I care about the most. Which character in the Be Free series do you relate the most to, and why? I would say the character I relate the most to is Rain, and I think it really goes back to the beginning. When I first created the series, the Be Free, it was a art series that I created, and I painted all the art on Auto Art Be Free. And I actually originally created Rain because I wanted to create art as an alien where I was going to be in full character and I was going to be painting art as an alien. And it was going to be it's trying to come to be a podcast, Aliens with JW, but it was going to be Aliens with Rain. And I was going to be painting real art in real time and just walking around town as Rain, being an artist. So I would say Rain is the character that I would say I relate the most to. Rain is the character that basically created my vision for the whole Be Free environment, and it kind of like started everything. Without giving away spoilers, what can readers look forward to in future stories or graphic novels? I'm happy you asked that question. It's not a spoiler, but one of the things readers can look forward to is the books actually being available in hard copy, where you can actually grab a physical book and you can read it. That's the future plans for the books. All currently right now, all the books are available only digital. So that's one of the things. The future books will be available in hard copy, and in the future, when I release the hard copy book, there'll be something in there very special related to in there special for all the readers as well. Beefy were turned into an animated series or movie, who would your dream cast as the voices? For an animated series, um, I've always had an experiment that I've always wanted to try. I've always wanted to see myself play the voices of all the characters. I would definitely want to experiment with that to see how does that turn out. Of course, in doing that, I'm going to change my voice for every character, and that was something I've always wanted to do. I'm all about experimenting. I think almost everything I do is an experiment at first, and then I just see how it goes. In regards to a dream cast, there's just so many amazing voice actors and actual actors. So um, there's just so many of them. It'd be very hard for me to choose a dream cast, but I know when the time comes to pick a cast or to work with people, I definitely wouldn't know at that time. What's a soundtrack or song you think perfectly capture the vibe of your series? Oh, I like the question. Regards to soundtracks and songs, I can pick a few songs, but the one thing I'm looking for right now is actually secretly, but it's not a secret anymore because I'm about to say it, is a musical composer to collaborate with to create an original song or soundtrack for the series to give it an original vibe, an original theme. So when readers are in the theatrical play, they get to get a vibe with the original sound. Another part of it is also I'm working on the audiobook, so I want an original sound that's made specifically for the aliens in the series that captures their image and their theme and their energy that they're certain way. So that's the one thing I'm looking for. I'm definitely starting to work more on. And once I get that right song, and I would definitely be let the world know more about that. But I'm happy you asked that question because that's something that's on my list of things to actually work on and be able to provide that music to go along with 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 their environment for the audience and the readers. I have one last question for you. Is there anything you would like to share before we end the show? Oh yes. I first start off by saying To everybody that's been watching and listening to the podcast and reading my books, I want to say thank you. I really appreciate y'all tuning in and being part of the experience and a part of the my experiment. I really appreciate it. Even like this podcast here, it's an experiment where I'm going back and forth from I'm Alien JW to being myself. I figured it might be cool for the world to actually see how I look behind, get that little vibe for like get to see how I actually look behind the mask. So I thought that would be cool. So definitely, I want to say once again, thank you for being part of the experience. Thank you for joining my universe, and I really appreciate all the feedback everybody's been giving me, and just like really thank you. Well, after that ending by Joshua, JW is going to do his normal closing. Well, that's a wrap for today's show. Huge thank you to Joshua for taking the time to come on the show. If you like the conversation, feel free to share the video with a friend or a loved one. Until next time on Aliens for JW, the podcast where aliens have conversation with humans and fellow aliens. Until next time.